Hey, welcome to Callback Bites. I'm here with my guest Carlo, and I have a question for you, Carlo.
Yeah, what's up?
What is your favorite animated character and why?
It took me a while when I was prepped for this, but I think my favorite character, animated character, video games, anime movies, whatever, television, probably would have to be Raiden from the Metal Gear series. It's He's a very fascinating character from like compared to Solid Snake of that series because Solid Snake is portrayed as sort of like an ideal type of person, like oh he's like a really buff, confident, maybe a little bit maybe a little bit naive at points, but but serious about what he's trying to do when he's in a mission to whatever game it is, like either it's Metal Gear Solid, Metal Gear Solid 2, maybe a little Metal Gear Solid 4, but you get the point is that he knows what he wants, he knows who he is, he wants to see it through. He's can't really how do I what's the
Determined?
word?
Is that the word?
He's definitely much more determined. He questions his authority figures in moments of like really significant importance, but understands that like despite all like the shortcut, like all the problems that he might be dealing with, he wants to make sure he gets it done. He knows he needs to get it done for a future that matters beyond like the stuff that he's experienced in like the previous like games like Metal Gear 2, Metal Gear Solid and such. Like compare but looking at Raiden, I think what's interesting about him is that he is basically a representation of the player. In Metal Gear Solid 2, he wants to be Solid Snake in a way. He has been trained like Solid, or not trained like Solid Snake, but he has participated in emulated events that Snake has been in himself for real. But for him, it's like a game to him. And when he actually confronts some Snake spoilers and early on in Metal Gear Solid 2, Snake questions like his participation in like VR exercises, the tanker incident, the Shadow Moses incident in like a simulated type of way, as sort of like what'd you say? Yeah, he just questions it in a way that's like like you're trying to be like me, and it's this is really bizarre, but I find it fascinating because in the end he he becomes his own character, and and for the player he it's sort of like a trend of the what you say, like Hideo Kojima telling the player to like
Be your own person?
basically be your own person, even if you strive for an ideal type of like character like Snake, you're different from him ultimately, and you have to find your own path in life. It's really cool, and it sort of happens in Metal Gear Solid 4 and Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance, and I like his storylines over there too. But like when I look at Metal Gear Solid 2, it's like it's like his character integrates with how the meta narrative is, and you don't really see that now, or you do see that nowadays. It's because it's become influential, but ultimately, like, yeah, sorry, just lost my train of thought on that.
No,
But
no, you were going good. I think you're saying
yeah,
the like meta, isn't it like the meta textual narrative of like, you're not Snake in that game but you're
but
being your own person, is what you're trying to say?
yeah, he like ultimately he had to be his own person to survive in what would be called the plant incident. And before he's sort of like a robot in a way, despite wanting to be different. Like we see like a little bit of like leaks of his character stem through like of his own character like coming out in like codec calls and other conversations in the game. But ultimately he was just basically a drone type of character, but striving to become something he's really not.
Okay. Follow up to that, would you say, do you have a favorite game where he's playable? I know he's in two and Revengeance, where he's the focus of that game. Would you say,
I
do you have a favorite of the ones he's playable, or just a favorite of the series, maybe?
I know a lot of people say Rising Revengeance is like the game that people should be playing Raiden as because he could do all the
Well, also
the
just that meme recently of the Armstrong music and the punching
oh
kind of was
oh
big for the
yeah, it
past
has
month.
yeah, it has to be it has to be this with the song. It's fun. It's a fun game. Like he's doing all the cool acrobatics and the cool stunts. Like very much like a a combination of like what's featured in Metal Gear Solid 4 as well as like the Platinum games, games like Bayonetta where you can do all the cool combos. But I think it's Metal Gear Solid 2 is probably the best game he's been represented in because you see him in his full light, his like full horrible light because later on in the game you find out in spoilers that he was like we you find out that he was a child soldier in the Liberian army or no, not in the Liberian war. He had to kill people. He was brainwashed along with many other children in that country to just participate in a war that he didn't really want to be involved in, and that's really dark. Like you don't really you do see some games that portray like that type of darkness, but I do like that. Like you learn about you come in, you start actually a quarter of the way in the game, you're introduced to this character who you don't really know too much about, but slowly but surely you learn about his nuances and like maybe his actions. He's cool in some parts too, like but that's just us as the player like playing him doing cool stuff too. But like later on, but once towards the end, you're seeing like
Picture?
the full picture of him as a person. He is his own character. He's ultimately his own character. He was never like it's just that we don't really see that until later on in the game. Then he was always in denial of his childhood past. We never then when when it's revealed that he was a child soldier, he did bad things. He's trying to find he's trying to find ways to make up for his troubles, but is unable to because he sort of can't accept his past in like a very fruitful way. But once like he had to like once he understood like his situation and ultimately like succeeds but fails in a way because he's being manipulated by a greater force that's beyond his control. Ultimately, it's cool. It's really interesting at the time because this was released back in 2001. Games don't really have game narrative in games were like that type of narrative was very light. Like you've seen some games that do it, but it was not as deep, it was not as profound, or at least not as common. I think that's one thing because some games had like very cool narrative very cool narrative pieces, but Metal Gear Solid 2 was the biggest example at this time.
Oh no, thank you, Carlo. This has been great, and this has been another Callback Bites